Hello and welcome to Project Hers. I'm your host, and today we'll be discussing the biggest problems women face today and in what ways we can overcome these challenges as a community to create a safe, supportive, and equal environment. During this episode, we'll be looking into the gender pay gap. So the first thing to know and to identify is, what is this gender pay gap? And this is the difference in earnings of men and women. So it is shown that women consistently earn less. According to the Census Bureau data from 2018, women of all races earned an average of just 82 cents for every $1 earned by men of all races. And you can hear me say all races, and this is another factor that plays into this gender pay gap. Women of color experience an even more significant gap. For every $1 earned by a white, non-Hispanic man, a Filipino woman earns 83 cents, a Tongan woman earns 75 cents, and a Nepali woman earns 50 cents. And this is more than just a couple cents. More than 55 million full-time working women earned an estimated $545.7 billion less than their male counterpart in 2019. In addition to race, other factors can include sexual orientation, disabilities, and gender identification, such as transgender people. So when we look at this issue, it's important to recognize what causes this gap and what causes this issue. So one being is the difference in industry and occupations. And this is gender norms. There's women's jobs and there's men's jobs. So women's jobs, such as health aides and childcare workers, significantly earn less than men's job, which can be construction or building. Another factor is the difference in years or experience of hours worked. So women are typically driven out of the workforce to accommodate caregiving or family needs, resulting in less work experience. From my experience, my mom had to take out paid family leave to care for me and my siblings. In addition to that, my auntie is actually a part of a military family, so her spouse is deployed once in a while, so she has to be a stay-at-home mom. And from this and from my mom's experience, it can actually be harder to go back into the workforce because they do lose that experience and that knowledge. So like I have mentioned with my mom's situation, there is paid family leave, but as of March 2019, only 19% of civilian workers have access to it. And basically, paid family leave is when you leave to care for a seriously ill family member or to bond with a new child. So you're taking time off of work. And of course, resulting in less experience and less hours worked. So the next factor is discrimination. Although it was made illegal, and it's been illegal since 1963 with the Equal Pay Act of 1963, and this is one of the federal anti-discrimination statutes that address salary disparities between gender and was signed into law by President John F. Kennedy on June 10, 1963. And this made it illegal for employers to pay women and men different if they were working at the same hours and in the same place. However, this issue is still occurring even if it's illegal, especially with women of color. And in some workplaces, there are no discussion for wages, and in addition to that, employers use the employee's pay history to make decisions of their pay. So what I mean by that is that they look at your past paychecks and they use that to determine what you're getting paid now. So this could actually follow you throughout your whole career, your whole life, and it's difficult to come out of that. So what narrows this gap? So first off, there's an increased attainment of education by women, and I congratulate everybody who does that. This is college level education and that higher level. And this allows us to have those higher paying jobs. Next is the creation of unions and unionization. So this is labor unions, and in which you can negotiate wages and combat discriminatory practices. So with that, we can use this to help solve the issue. So our first step would be updating comprehensive equal pay legislation. So with that, I would like to mention the Paycheck Fairness Act. And this is a proposed United States labor law that would add on to the procedural protections of the Equal Pay Act of 1963 and the Fair Labor Standards Act, and as a part of an effort to address the gender pay gap in the United States. Next is to have access to more family policies. And with this, we can minimize job loss and we can provide that economic security to women who have to take out paid family leave and who have to take care of their families. And next is to overall confront cultural biases. And one quote that I pulled from the source is, "The United States can only begin to remove patriarchal mechanisms that systematically disadvantage and shortage women and their families by passing critical legislations and transforming cultural attitudes." With that, this is the end of episode 2 of Project Hers. I hope that you learned more about the challenges women face and how we can overcome these issues to create a safe and supportive and equal community.